Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Kira from KiraWoods.com, and this is actually a revised video I'm doing today, just a bit of a quick look at some of the basics of how I give a tarot card reading in response to the series I'm going to do on giving a reading. So I will look at in further detail in other videos about specific spreads that I like to use, because a lot of you have asked me about that. But I'm redoing this video because apologies to those who looked at my video I made last week on this topic, that it all just sort of went a bit feral. So I thought, well, I'll remake it this way, which hopefully will give a better quality video and audio for you. So hi to everyone, and hi to all my subscribers. Thank you so much for all your questions, which is what I'm using to drive these this video series. So if you have any questions about giving a reading, feel free to pop me a message. So some of the things people have asked is about shuffling. Why do you shuffle the cards? I do shuffle my cards, and I use the Right Away deck. I use the Universal deck because I just really love this deck. I love the colours in it. I also have a Mother of Peace deck, which I really like as well. There's lots of wonderful decks out there, and really I'd say go with what is your personal preference, what sort of resonates with you as to what deck to choose. Yes, I shuffle the cards. I do it because it puts energy into them. And when I'm with a client, I'm usually building at that time, having a chat with them and building a bit of rapport, and just trying to connect with them, connect with their question or their area that they would like to focus on, depending on what a person wants, very much so that I make it a client-centered reading. I find that's quite doable via video or in person. Either works well, or even on the phone. Before I do a reading, have, of course, prepared, myself and tried to center myself, and sort of got in the right space, and whatever you need to do that, I highly recommend, so that you are in a place where you can really focus on the person and their question, and their vibration, and sort of open up and work with their energy, and that you'll find you'll be able to give a better reading that way. And of course, really connecting with your own intuition. So whatever you need to do to ground yourself so that you can really feel your intuition is with you, or you can connect to it quickly and easily, is also really quite essential. So, okay, so people have asked, shuffling the deck. So I just shuffle them. I just move them around. Whatever you like to do that. Do you have to do it? Well, I think you need to find some way to put energy into the cards and to put the question in, but that's my personal opinion. I'm sure other people have got other ways they do it, and if you do, by all means, pop a comment below if you've got another strategy or method that you use that you'd like to share with others. So do I cut the deck? Yes, I do. Again, I like to cut the deck so that the person I'm reading for has the opportunity to make the choice, and that sort of helps, again, bring them into the process, both energetically but also pragmatically as well. So I cut it, and I cut the deck sometimes 2, sometimes 3. It really just depends on what feels right for me in the moment. There's no right or wrong around any of this. The other thing, okay, so about how to give a reading. Well, first of all, you need to understand the cards, and the understanding is, yes, partially intellectual. I do think having a basic knowledge is useful. Is it absolute? I don't know, maybe not, but I think you have to have a relationship with them. And so for me, I found having a intellectual understanding of the various meanings of the cards and relating that to my own intuitive relationship is really important. And to build that relationship, I find that it's really good if you spend some time with each of the cards. Just sort of pay attention. Like, so for example, you might pull up a card like, say, this one, and spend some time looking at it, focusing on it. What do you think about it? What feelings come up? Ask yourself, what do you see? Each time you look at it, if you look at it on different days, you may notice something different comes up and jumps out at you. Is it that you suddenly notice the crown more than anything else, or the robe, or the color of what they're wearing? Or do you notice the fact that what he's actually sitting on, how it looks quite hard and stoned? Or do you notice the water? Do you notice where the eyes are focusing? You notice on the eyes, they're slightly focusing away. So if you pay attention to what you see, it's really going to help you in that moment, because what jumps out in the moment is something very important for that particular reading, and that will really help you as you talk to your clients. You might also find that the client themselves, you might say to the client, okay, what do you see in the card? That might be appropriate sometimes, and see what is important to them, because again, remember, the reading's about them. So if you ask them what really is jumping out at them, and they suddenly comment on this figure down here and they want to know about that, or that like really jumps out and means something to them or resonates with them, then that's a really valuable piece that you can work with and utilize within the reading. What else do people ask? Okay, do I do reversals? Now, I don't focus on reversals as a primary part of my reading style. Some people do, and that's fabulous. There are, if you look, you probably go find a whole bunch of YouTube videos specifically on people's definitions about reversals. So by all means, you might find that useful. I think it's good to have a general idea of the concept of a reversed meaning. When I read, though, I have that sort of general meaning in my background, but I don't focus on it in the sense that I think, oh, okay, it's reversed, so it's completely opposite to what the meaning would be if it was upright, in the sense that I focus on the energy behind the reversed component. So to me, a reversed card has a strength of energy, in the sense that usually it implies that the meaning or the energy behind it is somewhat obscured to that person, or hidden, or in the background. Maybe it's under layers. So it's actually quite powerful. So I usually like to try and share with the person around that, or talk to them about that, or find out a bit more about that for them, to see sort of, because again, remember, the whole point of a reading is you're looking at certain energy around a particular situation and understanding the flow of energy to help that person in how they look at the situation and therefore move forward. So it's that sort of insight into what's around them, sort of what's above, so is below. So how is what's happening around them from an energetic field affecting their situation and the future development of that situation, so they can make decisions around what they want to do and how they want to proceed, which is why, again, for me, there's no such thing as a negative card or a negative reading, because it's very much around how you use it. Each card has a opportunity component, and each card maybe has a challenge or a resistance or an obstacle. And so both are very valuable. Sometimes finding out what the obstacle is in your particular situation can be the most valuable thing you can find out, and it can really help you to make a decision that can move that obstacle or change it, or work with it. Other times, if things are just flowing all the time, and you can kind of lose sight of what you're working on, So I do sort of pay attention to that. Well, for myself, I do, and I find that important. What kind of readings do I do? So I don't use the traditional Celtic cross. It's just not something that resonates with me. There's lots of videos out there on it, and lots of wonderful people have used it and talk about it. So if that interests you, I'd say seek that out. For myself, I've created some modified particular spreads that I like to use, and I will do in future videos talk a bit about my own spreads, or pretty much how I've created my own spreads, so that you yourself can maybe develop your own spreads. And I very much sort of go with what feels right in the moment with the client as to which spread I use. I do, and what they need. So if they're making a decision, then I might use a spread specifically designed for helping decision making. If they're wanting to just know a general spread, generally what's going on, then I will use my modified version of the Celtic Cross that just sort of sits with me, which gives a nice overview. Many of you ask me questions. You get this card in a reading and you say, what does it mean? It's very difficult to respond without just giving you a general idea what a card means, which is what you can also get from listening to my video on each of the cards. But because it depends on where in the spread it came up and what was the intent behind asking. Was it an open question? Was it a closed question? Because that can be create an obscured type of answer. It also depends on, like for example, was it the first card and is that card in your spread the situation? Or was it a card that's perhaps the card of influence? So the situation is a different card, but you're looking at the influence, the energy that's influencing the situation. For example, if I'm doing, a spread that's related to situation, influence, and perhaps advice, or I might, some people would like to do past, present, future. Sometimes, I might be looking at, the situation, and I might do a card of influence, and then I might want the helper card. I want to ask Spirit to give some guidance around helping it. I'll also do a separate video on the court cards because they are very complex. Well, they can be very complex because, of course, it depends on whether it's, yourself or another that's happening. And again, your intuition is key there. And as I said, I know I'll also do a separate video about combining of cards. So I won't talk about that here, but of course that's all an important part of giving a reading. How to look at how the cards flow and the influence of one card to add value or meaning or insight to another. So I hope that's helpful. Again, apologies for the one, if you've watched the other one and it was not so crash hot from a video and audio point of view. Good learning curve for me. If I ever can figure out how to get the encode that I need, I might try doing live videos again, and if so, I might just do a quick test and you can all tell me whether it works before I go ahead. It is a lot easier than doing this. This is a lot more of an complex process that I have to go through. So, I think that's about it. Thank you so much. It's absolutely fabulous. If you would like to follow my other videos and follow me, please subscribe. You'll see the button over here, I think it is. If you like the video, please let me know. Please push the like because it lets me know that these videos are something people want. Send me any comments and thoughts. Thank you. And also if you'd like a private reading, I do private readings. I've actually been quite busy with quite a lot of my new subscribers have been having private readings, so thank you very much. Welcome and hi, I hope you're watching this video. I really appreciate that. So if you yourself would like one, please go to my website. It is www.kirawoods.com. You will find there a link to send me a contacts, and very shortly I'm going to have a booking button which you can push, and that'll take you straight into my calendar and you'll be able to just book it straight away. But in the meantime, I get back to people as quick as possible to arrange and book a reading for you anywhere in the world. Not a problem, because now with technology it's quite easy as long as we work out the time zone difference. So thank you again. Have a fantastic day. All the very best. Cheers. Bye.